All right, so let's graph this equation here that is in standard form. And standard form is ax plus by equals c. Basically, you have a number in front of x, a number in front of y equals a constant. And it can be a plus or a minus. So in this case, I have a minus. And the way you graph equations that are in standard form, you want to find the intercepts and then just plot the two intercepts on the graph. What are intercepts? Well, intercepts are where the graph crosses each axis. So I want to find my x-intercept and my y-intercept. So I want to see where that graph crosses each axis. All right, so what I want to do to find my x-intercept, a simple trick here, I want to just cover up this 4y. Normally you will see people plug in 0 for the other variable. You could do that. But I like to just cover it up. And if I cover it up, I'm left with 2x equals 8. And now I'm just left with a one-step equation. Solve for x. So my x-intercept is 4. I plot 4 on my x-axis. Start at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm counting back. Positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Not negative 4. All right. I want to do the same thing with my y value or my y-intercept. So I simply want to, I'm dropping stuff here. All right, I simply want to cover up the 2x, and I'm left with negative 4y equals 8. Negative 4y equals 8. Divide by negative 4, and y equals negative 2. So my y-intercept is negative 2. So I count down 1, 2. And I have 2 points for my graph. And I could just draw a line to those 2 points. And we've graphed the equation of this line in standard form. Okay, so we have another problem here that is in standard form. I'm going to use the same process of finding my intercepts and plotting them on the graph. So finding my x, just cover up the y here. I'm left with 4x equals 8. Solving for x, one-step equation, so I'm just dividing by 4. X is 2. All right, covering up my 4x here, and I'm just left with y equals 8. And of course, we know there's an understood 1. We could go through and divide by 1, but you're still just going to get y equals 8. All right. So I just plot these 2 points on my coordinate grid. So x is 2, 1, 2. And y is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to graph, or draw my line here. And the ordered pairs here are, so since x is 2, my x value goes first. The ordered pair here is 2, 0. Just a side point here. And the ordered pair here is 0, 8. So if you're asked to find the intercepts and you asked to find the ordered pairs, you know your x value is always first. So that would be the ordered pair 2, 0. And your y is always second. And so it would be 0, then whatever your y-intercept is. All right. And so we've graphed this equation that is in standard form. All right. So I have an equation here that is not in standard form already. What I want to do is rewrite it in standard form. So this is a literal equation because I have more than one variable. If you're not familiar with solving literal equations, please see my video, solving 1- and 2-step literal equations. But what I want to do, I want to move this 3x over because I want my x value and my y value, or the terms with x and y on my left-hand side and my constant on the right-hand side. All right. So since this is a positive 3x, I'm going to simply subtract 3x from both sides. All right. I can't combine these. They are not like terms. So I'm just going to rewrite it separately. Negative 3x minus 2y equals, I'm left with a negative 6 on my right-hand side. So now I could find my intercepts because I have my x and y value on the same side, or the terms with x and y on the same side, and my constant on the right hand side. All right. So same process. Instead of plugging in 0, I'm just going to cover it up. So I'm left with negative 3x equals negative 6. Solving for x, dividing by negative 3. My x intercept is negative 2. Same thing for y. I'm going to try to squeeze it in over here. So negative 2y equals negative 6. Dividing 3 by negative 2. And y equals 3. Plotting those points. X is 2. Y is 3. All right. And there we go. I've graphed that line on a coordinate grid. All right, so the last problem we're going to try is a problem with fractions. Now, the first thing we want to do is eliminate the fraction by multiplying everything by the least common denominator. If you're not familiar with how to do that, please see my video solving multi-step equations with fractions, and it goes further into detail about how to eliminate fractions. But what we're going to do is the same process. We're going to multiply everything by the least common denominator, and that least common denominator is 2. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2 to get rid of my fractions, or my fraction. So 2 times 1/2 is just 1, or 2 over 2, which reduces to 1. 2 times negative 4y is negative 8y. And 2 times 4 is 8. All right. So now I'm finding my intercepts using the same process, covering up that x, or the negative 8y, to find my x-intercept. I'm just left with x equals 8. Nothing to solve for there. All right. Covering up my x, I'm left with negative 8y equals 8. Dividing both sides by negative 8, and I get 8 divided by 8, 8 divided by negative 8, that is y equals negative 1. So my x-intercept is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Y-intercept is negative 1. All right, since these points are a little further apart, just grab my ruler here, draw the line straight. All right. There we go. Somewhat straight. But I have graphed this equation in standard form by finding my intercepts. All right. So I hope you learned a little bit. I hope you learned how to graph using standard form and using the intercepts. All right. And thank you for learning with me.